Hello, I'm just your average ordinary American. I'm not associated with anybody. I'm not making money on this video. I'm just your average ordinary American who believes in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. I definitely believe in the flag back there. I believe in the Pledge of Allegiance, and I believe in the Star Spangled Banner. I definitely believe in the principles of this founding of this nation, which is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm going to start this off with talking about the Boston Tea Party. If you've gone through public education, you probably haven't been taught anything about it, or it's been breezed over. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson and quotes from the people of that time. The Boston Tea Party happened on December 16th, 1773. I want to say that I'm not a professional speaker, and sometimes I skip some words or I mispronounce words. Please give me grace with that. It doesn't mean I don't understand what they mean. It just means I have trouble pronouncing them. December 16th, 1773, followed just 3 years after the Boston Massacre, where 5 Americans were killed by British soldiers who commandeered their homes. The British then began imposing on the colonies taxation, which eventually became unbearable. This is the foundation of our government on taxation without representation. There shall be no taxation without representation. The government, based upon our founding documents, is not supposed to use taxation as a weapon against an opposition. Early in the year of 1773, the men of Marlborough, Massachusetts, declared unanimously, death is more, I don't know what this word is, than slavery, but this word means it's better to die than to live than to be a slave. A freeborn people are not required by the religion of Jesus Christ to submit to tyranny. Again, that's a principle from that's written in the Declaration of Independence, which says a tyrant is unfit to be ruler of the free people. So it's a consistent theme. Again, I'll start over. Death is more important is better. I'm just translating the word. Death is better than slavery. A freeborn people are not required by the religion of Jesus Christ to submit to tyranny, but may make use of such power as God has given them to recover and support their laws and liberties. We implore the ruler above the skies that he would make bare his arm in defense of his church and people and let. Okay. Also, I want to quote this. In 1774, okay, just wait. Sorry about that. I apologize. Like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm just your average ordinary guy trying. The towns, cities, and surrounding colonists began sending their support. In August 1774, William Prescott led the men of Pepperell, again, I apologize if I mispronounce something, Massachusetts, to deliver many loads of rye. He wrote to the men of Boston, we heartily sympathize with you. At this time, the British had surrounded Boston. Most of what is written in the Bill of Rights is because of what the British did to the colonists, and a lot of it had to do with them surrounding Boston with what they consider an insurrection. Oh, that sounds familiar. So if you go over the list of the Bill of Rights, a lot of every single one of those bills comes from here, comes from the British surrounding Boston and taking away colonist rights. Maybe we should apply this correctly. Now, so this is the townspeople. William Prescott read to the townspeople surrounded by the British troops. We heartily sympathize with you, and are always ready to do in all our power for your support, comfort, and relief, knowing that Providence has placed you where you must stand the first shock. We consider we are all embarked in the same inn and must sink or swim together. We think if we submit to these regulations, all is gone. Let's repeat that. We think if we submit to these regulations, all is gone. Our forefathers passed the vast Atlantic, spent their blood and treasure that they might enjoy their liberties, both civil and religious, and transmit them to their prosperity. They connected both civil liberties and religious freedoms to prosperity. They didn't connect it with some government program. Now, if we should give them up, can our children rise up and call us blessed? Let us all be of one heart and stand fast in the liberty wherewith Christ has made us free, and may he, of his infinite mercy, grant us deliverance out of all our troubles. Then later on, I want to talk about in something related to the Boston Tea Party. In 1774, the Provincial Congress of Massachusetts reorganized the Massachusetts militia, providing that over 1/3 of all new regiments he made up of Minutemen. The Minutemen, known as such because they would be ready to fight at a minute's notice, would drill as citizen soldiers on the parade ground, then go to the church to hear exhortation and prayer. Many times the deacon of the church or even the pastor would lead the drill. They proclaimed, "Our cause is just," and believed it was their Christian duty to defend it. They weren't wimps. The Provincial Congress of Massachusetts charged the Minutemen. Now, this is the government charging their troops, basically. This is the government of Massachusetts charging the people of their military. You are placed by Providence in the post of honor, because it is the post of danger. The eyes not only of North America and the whole British Empire, but all of Europe are upon you. Let us be, therefore, altogether solicitous, sorry again, I mispronounced the word, that no disorderly behavior, nothing unbecoming our characters as Christians, as citizens and Christians, be justly chargeable to us. Even though they were the military and they were ready to fight and were to fight the revolution, they were charged to no disorderly behavior and nothing unbecoming of a character of American or citizen or a Christian. That's honor, that's integrity. Even in their fighting, they were supposed to uphold honor of what they felt what American was and what a Christian was. Now, that goes directly to what I believe what the code of an eagle is. I keep on mentioning where are the eagles. I think an eagle is an American. Is an American, any American who believes in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence, who believes in life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, who believes in freedom of speech, disagrees with high taxation, and is willing to stand up to those who disagree with it. Okay, so again, what is the code of an eagle? I got 6 codes written. This is just my idea. Code 1. An eagle believes in the principles written in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution and Bill of Rights. And the eagle takes seriously freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom of choice, the right to own firearms weapons, freedom of religion, and protects life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's a true eagle. 2. An eagle's first allegiance is to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is either for the Jew or Christian. A non-Christian or non-Jew can be an eagle, but they should understand this nation was based upon Christian and Jewish principles. Code number 4. An eagle never soars or uses their skills for political gain, to harm innocent Americans, or for frivolous causes. An eagle does soar to protect American people from those people or organizations that are against the principles of the United States, which is which refers to code number 1. When an eagle soars, and so code number 5. When an eagle soars and uses their skills, they consider their actions and the consequences of these actions. Their goal is always to reestablish or to protect the principles and freedoms declared in the founding documents, which again is the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. An eagle only uses their skills necessary to achieve the objective necessary to maintain America's founding principles. And like what was written to the Minutemen, an eagle is honorable and only soars and uses their skills when necessary. They're honorable. They're not cowardly. And they use the principles written in the Bible. You don't like that? Well, like it or not, this country was founded on Judeo-Christian values and principles. It kept us strong for a long time. It made us better than most other nations. Like it or not. Code 4. An eagle doesn't participate in cowardly terrorist actions or random acts of violence. That is not honorable. But that is just not honorable. It's not honorable to act in some cowardly act. Like storming the state capitol. You guys look like idiots. You didn't have a plan. You weren't doing anything. And then when you went in there, you took pictures of yourself. Or running planes into buildings. Or bombing a mall. What are you attacking innocent people for? What are you being stupid? What do we want to be like Antifa? What do we want to be like some of these liberals out there burning people's shit down? No, that's cowardly. Antifa, I'm sorry to tell you, you're a bunch of cowards. And Black Lives Matter, you're a bunch of cowards. Going off burning your own people's stuff. American stuff. Code number 6. An eagle will defend the flag, its monuments, true Americans, and honors the traditions of the United States. To break windows of the Capitol building is dishonorable. I think that goes against the code of an eagle. You got to leave those things alone. Understand who your target is and understand what you're trying to defend. I understand right now there's a lot of anti-American socialist jerks running this country, but don't ruin the representation of what those founding things meant, like the Washington Monument, the Capitol, the Lincoln Memorial. You're a coward, an absolute coward, and you lack honor if you mess up those things. Now, here's my list of what is anti-American. Now, again, if you're woke, if you're politically correct, if you're all about just one side should have speech, you're not going to like this. And I don't care. What is anti-American? Socialism. To be blunt, there's nothing more anti-American than socialism. Socialism goes against the principles of self-government and freedom. The founding documents of the United States support individual freedoms and expressions. Socialism, to be blunt, is a group tyranny. No matter what they promise, no matter what they say, the only way it somewhat kind of works, it usually leads to a disaster, a dystopia. It's just a group tyranny. They only want, you can see it now, deleting stuff off the internet, telling someone they're woke, using manipulative language, which I cover in another video. They're a tyranny, folks. They're not there to help you. They're there to enslave you. If you don't have the choice to do things, and they bribe you with projects, how great is that? No true American is for complete socialism, and even social programs should be limited to individual states. Now, again, I'm not against what you'd call welfare, but that should be run on the states. And for a practical reason. Just because there's a program in Texas, that doesn't mean it's going to work in New York. And just because there's a program in Washington, state of Washington, doesn't mean it's going to work in Florida. And even by city, you know, if you look at it, you need the states to really help people. More importantly, stop trying to have the government help people. You as an individual should help a person. The idea that the government can save us is anti-American. What is anti-American? Burning of the flag, pulling down statues, changing history, disrespecting the Pledge of Allegiance, kneeling during the Star-Spangled Banner. I know you can do this, but it doesn't mean you're not an anti-American punk. Sorry if that hurts your feeling. And pulling down statues, changing history, and stuff like that, it's a clear message you're a socialist, anti-American jerk. What is anti-American? Any person, organization, or political party that is in favor of limiting anyone's free speech or the press. Shoot, sorry about that. I just got a pop-up, whatever. Don't know how to turn it off. Like I said, I'm just your average guy. Okay, so what's anti-American? Any person, organization, or political party that is in favor of limiting anyone's free speech or free press. Where is the classic liberal? I imagine all you lefties and all you people, all you socialists would be just in an uproar if Twitter or any of these tech companies did what they did to real Americans and shut you down. Even if they shut you down, I, as a real American, would be upset by it. But you're supporting a tyranny in your wokeness and your political correctness, and you're a tyranny. You're supporting a tyranny. Wake up. Go beyond what you've been taught in public school, which this goes on to my next. What is anti-American? Double standards is completely unacceptable for any person, organization, or political party to use the Constitution and Bill of Rights when it benefits them. Hello, Democrat Party! But when it doesn't, they ignore these principles. The Democrat Party is guilty of this all the time. And judges, can't forget about that. Oh, let's apply the Constitution here, but let's ignore it here. Let's change it. What is anti-American? Sorry, I'm not going to apologize for getting fired up now. This pisses me off. This fires me up. Again, in a previous video. The left. You on the left, if you don't want a civil war, you got to stop it. You got to stop what you're doing. And if you Republicans don't want a civil war, you got to find a backbone and you got to start standing up for what America is based upon. What is anti-American? For any person, organization, or political party to use racism to either hinder someone's rights or to promote someone's rights. To use racism as a political agenda. Both reverse racism and straightforward racism is both equally horrible and equally wrong. The reason socialists like reverse prejudice is because they use it as a political agenda while keeping minorities bound down and subjecting of them. Really think, if you're a minority, really think the only thing that the Democrat parties really butt you, and the socialists of that party, let's be a little bit more specific, the socialists of that party, what they built to? They built you the projects. How great is that? The socialism actually does not really help poor people. It creates more people. I might explain that in a later video. And you can go on PragerU, you can go on other places that'll do a better job than me of explaining it. But basically, if you give everything away, everybody's poor, except for the select few who's deciding who's rich and poor. That is not fair. Hello, all you people are going public school now who think socialism is fair. How is it fair to have a group, a small group, tyrannical group, to decide who's rich and poor? And that's what they're doing. If you're woke, you're rich. If you're not woke, we're going to take everything away from you. That's a tyranny. And it gets me so frustrated that you Republicans won't point it out. You're afraid. Being woke, politically correct, and using these socialist principles to hinder other American citizen rights is un-American. It's un-American for any judge to rule against the Constitution. To appoint any judge, it's unconstitutional for any politician to appoint any judge that would knowingly go against the Constitution, for any elected official to pass any law that goes against the Constitution, and for any government agency to go against the Constitution, and for any agency to make law outside of the legislature. That includes governors, and that includes like the DNR and other places like that. So I want to point out on a side issue, it's kind of interesting now that they believe Trump will never be office. All these regulations are going away. All this lockdown stuff, they're now all of a sudden saying, was that really about our health? Just putting that in there. What is anti-American? For any person, organization, or political party to hinder the expression of anything Jewish or Christian. A non-Christian or Jew may certainly live in the United States and even practice their religion or even choose not to practice any. But these people and organizations have not the right to tell Jewish or Christians to stop practicing of their religions. All you have to do is read our founding documents and you realize this country was founded upon Christian Jewish principles. Now, if you've been brainwashed by the public education system, you'll think that's terrible. The reason a socialist hates Christianity and hates Jewish people is because all the principles of being a Christian and Jewish person goes against what a socialist atheist stands for. Which is what? They're a tyranny. Stop thinking of socialists as these wonderful people. They're a bunch of tyrants. Look at what they are doing. Open your eyes. Actually be open-minded. And look at what Nancy Pelosi is doing. Look at what socialists want. Look at what AOC wants. It's not going to benefit you at all. Look at what Twitter did. They're all together. What is anti-American? The Teachers Union in Public Education. Their anti-American pro-socialist agenda makes the teachers union anti-American. The sooner people realize this, the better. Just because I believe the teachers union is anti-American does not mean specific teachers are not. One of the things is I wish teachers would start standing up to their unions and to their districts and start saying, hey, look, this is anti-American. Even you classic liberals, start standing up and saying, hey, the universities is anti-American. It's obvious the universities are run by socialists, and the goal is to make sure every student turns out to be a socialist, anti-American atheist who hates their family and hates America. Newsflash. Abortion is anti-American. Abortion is a fundamental socialist idea. And why is it un-American? It's just completely un-American. The founding principle of the United States is life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Doesn't abortion stop a life from this pursuit? It is anti-American to stop the American people from defending itself from the government itself and from any person, organization, or political party that would hinder the rights granted to us by the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, or the Bill of Rights. Any true American will defend the Second Amendment. It's anti-American to go against the principle of the Second Amendment. You might not like guns. You might not own a gun. But you should understand, or a weapon, no matter what that weapon is. You should understand, because people do have the Second Amendment protects the First Amendment and protects us. I read you what the Minutemen were about in the Boston Tea Party. One of the first things that the British Empire did was take away everybody's weapons. Now think about the socialists who run the Democrat Party. All they want to do is get rid of weapons. Why? Because when socialists take over, everybody wants to shoot them. I'm being blunt. If that hurts your feelings, oh well. It's good that you whack out of your liberal bubbles. The reason socialists don't like guns and use any event with a gun, and that's a double standard. If someone uses a gun to protect themselves or other people, they never talk about it. But if a gun is used in a way that they don't like and they can use, they talk about it. That's a double standard. That's an anti-American double standard crap the media does. But understand, because Americans have guns, it stops the government. And socialists hate guns because they know once they take over and when they put in their policies, everything turns to poop, turns into a disaster. The idea that a different group, and I believe this is what happens. Every group of socialists think that they're going to do it better than the last ones. But no, they end up to be the exact same. And if a socialist here would be yelling at me, we're different, are you? You want to hinder everybody's speech? Well, didn't Stalin do that? Didn't Hitler do that? Oh, I want to remind everybody that Nazism, fascism, communism, and socialism all are from the same tree. The same root. What is that root? What is that root? Marx. They all come from Marx. It's just that socialists make it sound better. They're all tyrannies, and they all act like tyrannies. And Stalin killed just as many people as Hitler did. And if you're from school, go, I never heard that before. Well, do some research. Stop listening to your anti-American socialist teachers, especially when it comes to politics, history, and science. You don't like it, I don't care. Wham. It is anti-American to hold the belief the government is the best solution to solve people's problems. Our country was based upon the idea of small government and personal responsibility, and for people to care about one another. One of the things that's never talked about with socialism, the more socialism there is, the less I have to care about someone else. It is the most uncaring thing there is. Based on biblical principles, based upon what God wants. He wants us to love one another. Well, if everybody's on a program, do I have to care about my neighbor? One of the reasons neighbors aren't caring about neighbors and people are treating each other like crap is because of socialism and your programs. They are not caring at all. It is American to protest. Again, let me repeat this. It is American to protest. I believe, though, it's anti-American to hurt or kill an innocent citizen, to destroy an innocent's property, to destroy national treasures, and to destroy someone's business. The key here is innocent. An organization or person hindering the freedom listed in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and Bill of Rights is not innocent. But if you're going to protest, don't burn down someone's business. You're cowardly. You're an asshole. No matter what side it is. How are you defending the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, or Bill of Rights by burning down someone's business? Or for that matter, burning the flag. You're just being an asshole. You're just being an anti-American socialist. You can do it, but you're a punk. Okay, I'm adding this one. I think we should start thinking this way. It is anti-American to cheat in elections, to change election rules to benefit a specific party or an individual, to allow non-Americans to vote, to allow people in prison to vote. Not everybody has the right to vote if you're not an American citizen, or you have done something to eliminate that right. Also, I think it's anti-American of these media outlets to declare a winner before the voting process is finished. The voting process isn't finished in this country until the Electoral College finishes. Also, it's anti-American to be against the Electoral College. Also, a big principle is you shouldn't suppress votes. You shouldn't stop someone from voting. I agree with a Democrat with that, but what Democrat wants is that everybody can vote more than once. It is anti-American for anybody to vote more than once. I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to read it all together. It is anti-American to cheat in elections, to change election rules to benefit a specific party, to allow non-American citizens to vote, to declare a winner before the voting process is finished, and to allow any individual to vote more than once. Also, it's anti-American to have dead people vote, to have people in prison vote, to have someone vote in favor of someone else, and probably it should be considered to be anti-American to mass vote through the mail. And a big thing is, it's anti-American for one political party, any political party, to change the rules so they just win. It should be equal. Let's go back to double standards. It's anti-American to live in double standards. One group of people shouldn't be living under one set of rules, another group living under a different set of rules. And that goes back to applying the Constitution. It is so anti-American to say, well, these parts of the Constitution we're going to use, but if we don't like it, it's being used against us, we're going to ignore it. Okay, now this is very important. It's anti-American and cowardly to use acts of violence on innocent people. The symbols of the United States, its statutes, its monuments, and those things representing freedom. Attacking innocent Americans, businessmen, businesses, and their property is very anti-American. Again, let me say that again. It's anti-American and cowardly, and it lacks honor to use acts of violence on innocent people. The symbols of the United States, its statutes, its monuments, and those things representing freedom. Attacking innocent Americans, businessmen, businesses, and their property is very anti-American. I also want to add churches or synagogues. What is not anti-American is to stop or to use violence, actually, on individuals, organizations, political parties, leaders, businesses, organizations, and even the government itself when they act in a way or pass a law that goes against the freedoms given to us in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. There's a time for violence. Now let me continue. Violence should always be the last resort. The goal of this violence is always to restore or defend the principles given to the American citizen by God in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Again, a terrorist type of attack, an attack on citizens, businesses, and the symbols of the United States are always cowardly. Folks, we are headed for a civil war. Where are the Eagles? I don't want a civil war. What I wish is on a political, social, educational, and economic level, everybody would stand up and tell socialists, point at them, and say no more. If the classic liberal and conservatives can agree to that, that will stop a civil war. The two keys to that is the classic liberal needs to stand up and realize that the Democrat Party has been taken over by socialists. That socialists have taken over the school systems. That socialists have taken over the media. And for some reason, it is very difficult for the average Democrat to accept that. You got to stop thinking that the Democrat Party was the same party it was when your parents voted for it. They're run by socialists. They're anti-American socialists. Get out of your bubble. If you are an anti-American socialist, well, fuck you. Sorry to use that language, but fuck you. Anyway, I ask that you pray for this nation, and let's hope that this country lasts.